Hey guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back, and it is Thursday, September 5th, and it is 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope everyone is doing well. I am extremely full because I just had a huge meal. I had some people over for supper, and it was a big meal. So anyway, if I seem a little bit subdued, it's just because I'm just too full. Anyway, let's get on with the news here. We're going to be, I heard from the lady that had given me the information about the Conception boat fire, and so I have that for you, as well as some other links about the Conception boat fire, and we're going to touch on some other news. But first, let me go over here and thank some people that donated through coffee, and I will be checking my mail tomorrow. So tomorrow's video, I will, if there's anything in my mailbox, I'll be thanking those people. All right. Carolyn and Joseph D. They didn't say where they're from, but thank you. And Elizabeth P. from Missouri. She just happened to mention that she has 2 Jack Russell Terriers. You know, it'd be better if she had 2 cats, but hey, Jack Russell Terriers are okay. They're good dogs. And Janie from, didn't say, but thank you. Barbara B. from Ohio, and Linda C. from Texas, and David F. from Alaska. I bet you we probably have every single state covered with listeners, and probably several countries as well. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, as well as my Patreon supporters and everyone. I really do. And, you know, if you're not able to donate, don't ever feel bad or like, really, I mean that, because I know that there are many people on a fixed income listening, and I know it's hard enough to make ends meet. So please don't ever feel obligated. You know, those that can do usually, and it all works out. So please don't ever feel any obligation. Okay, now these are the things we're going to get into. Now, I feel like I should play a couple clips for you first. This is about the boat fire, and I feel I should play these clips because many of you were asking. We heard the clip in the last video about, you know, the person that made the distress call. They didn't say anything. We only had the transmission from the 911 operator. Well, now I realize it was the Coast Guard, not a 911 operator. And, you know, the person talking about, you know, are they locked inside? And then we can't hear his response. And then we hear, well, can you get back on the boat and unlock the door? So that to me right there says that there was something strange going on. They were locked down below. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had that transmission. You know, that makes perfect sense to me. Well, some people, you know, had commented that I don't think that they said, you know, that please don't kill me. Well, I have listened to 2 separate renditions of that, and I definitely hear it. 2 times he said, please don't kill me. So I don't know what that is about, but one thing's for sure, they are trying to hide this, because I now just informed talk. This is where I got the first video, and then the second one is from the Wall Street Journal. Interestingly enough, they put subtitles for everything except for the times when the guy said, please don't kill me. They didn't put a subtitle for that. Gee, I wonder why. Well, you know, it's the whole fake news thing. They don't want whatever is going on here, they don't want it to come out. And I do believe that there was a professional hit out on someone. And then Carol, she's going to provide some additional information. She's been on that boat several times, and she's a professional diver. So, well, I don't know if she, well, yeah, I believe she said she taught diving. So anyway, let's take a look at the first one here. And this is from Just Informed Talk. And just to give him credit, Just Informed Talk, and he's got a good show here. So if you ever want to check him out, please do so. He's got a lot of listeners, and I've heard nothing but good about him. So this is where the first one comes from.
That's Southern Stress. This is Coast Guard Sector Los Angeles on Channel 16. What is your position and number of persons on board? Over.
I can't breathe.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, did Hurricane Dorian provide the...
Now, then he goes on to something else, which looks really interesting, and I haven't had a chance to listen to the rest of this, but I'm going to, because I happen to believe that it did provide cover for the SEAL team. And of course, we have that listener that sent us the fact that on Epstein Island, the SEAL Team 6 was there, but then when she looked again, they weren't. So anyway, let me go to the next one. Now, hopefully you heard that. The next one does not have the music in the background, so it may be a little bit easier to hear, but it doesn't have the subtitles for the two times that the man said, "Please don't kill me." And the first time he said it, it was kind of jumbled, and I thought, is that what he's saying or not? The second time, to me, it was perfectly clear, because the first time I was going, "Please don't kill me." It's jumbled, but I can hear it. The more I listen to it, the more I can hear it. But the second time, no mistaking it for me. Okay, so let's listen to another source.
That's Southern Stress. This is Coast Guard Sector Los Angeles on Channel 16. What is your position and number of persons on board? Over.
I can't breathe.
See, he's saying, "Please don't kill me." And then he says, "I can't breathe." Now, I'm going to go back and let you hear that again. Okay? He's saying, "Please don't kill me." What? I can't breathe. That's what he's saying. Now one more time.
That's Southern Stress, Coast Guard Sector Los.
Hang on. Let me go back a bit. Sorry, didn't go back far enough. Okay. Yeah, they just say unintelligible there. It's very clear what the man is saying to me. The more I listen to it, it's like, yeah, there's no mistake in it. The second time is even more clear. You hear that?
That's Southern Stress, Coast Guard Sector Los Angeles, Roger. The Coast Guard has received a mayday call from an unknown vessel in position.
So they cut it off there. They don't play the second one where he says it much more clear. And they don't subtitle. They just put unintelligible. Well, it's not unintelligible, and they have equipment that they can make that very clear if they wish. So I think that they know exactly what he was saying. But let's go on here and get to the rest. I'm going to read you this, and I don't think she has any problem with me reading this to you, because she actually emailed me and she said, I just resent it to you because it's easier than you looking through everything trying to find it. And I very much appreciated that. So I don't think she would resend it to me if she didn't want me to read it on air. All right. She said, "Hi, Mishel. It's Carol again. I felt I needed to share what I know." Let me see. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to read and it's easier for you guys to see on your tiny little phones. I love my tiny phone, people. I'm thinking about you. Really, I am. Okay. Let's make it bigger. Be bigger, she said, and it was. All right. Now let's get into this. Okay, here we go. You ready? I know, you were born ready. Me too. Okay. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Hang on one second. In Word, I can never get my thing to scroll. Anyway, she says, "Hi, Mishel, it's Carol again. I felt I needed to share what I know about the fire on the Conception dive boat. I live in Ventura County. That is just south of and shares a border with Santa Barbara County. I am watching this intently as I have dove on the Conception, and I'm wondering if there may be others I knew, have dove with, or worked with on the trip yesterday. I know one of the people on the boat came out to volunteer on a research project I directed in the late 1980s, early 1990s. The Conception was an open charter chartered by a company in Monterey, California, that has been chartering boats that I was personally aware of, at least, since the mid-1980s. I taught scuba, worked offshore for many years. Yesterday and today have been emotionally difficult, and I can only imagine. To see the video of the Conception fully engulfed in flames like that is horrific. I can't imagine a worse way to die. Being unable to get out of close quarters in the bunks with the boat in flames is unimaginable. The bunks below are never closed, much less locked when there are people on board. It just isn't done. So you're hearing it from her, who has dove on this boat. Is it dived? Dive doesn't sound right, and dove doesn't sound right in that. Anyway, so she's taught scuba. She knows what she's talking about, and she's saying it just isn't done. However, we still have the audio where the person is asking them, can you get back on the boat and unlock the door? Well, why would anyone ask that if the person hadn't just said, he said, is the door locked? And then they cut out the part where he answered, and then they're saying, well, can you get back on the boat and unlock the door? So obviously the person answered in the affirmative, right? So, but she's saying that's not done. So this was unusual. If it was locked, it's unusual. All right. There is a fill station by the door. This is important because my suspicion is that there was a tank or tanks filled with nitrox on board. There's propane in the galley, the second story, essentially of the second story essentially of the ship at dock level. The passenger bunks are down below. Then the crew quarters, like most dive boats, are above the galley. Behind, aft, or towards the stern, the back of the boat, the door that goes into the galley is the tank filling station. Then the engine room is aft of that and also down below the deck, which is on the same level as the galley, and that is the restaurant and kitchen. Dive boats stay wet. For the boat to burn like that, it had to have been very, very hot. And I can only imagine, because if you're diving from that boat and then the people are going overboard and then getting back on with their being all wet and dripping, yeah, I can imagine that the boat would be very wet. That makes sense to me. For heaven's sakes. Hang on here. Dive boats stay wet. For the boat to burn like that, it had to have been very, very hot, as in use of a fuel or accelerant. I would agree with that. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that something was used of that nature. In my professional opinion, my hypothesis is the nitrox and propane on board, or someone bringing a tank on with O2 to mix nitrox on board, or they mixed on board or filled with it, mixed with a hydrocarbon such as propane or other cooking fuel, but likely propane, oxidized and either was set off by static or set itself off by the oxidation process and ignited. Now, that would make sense to me. And well, let me just go on with what she has to say. She explains. The crew was even sleeping. The boat was very likely anchored. 2 anchors are used on a boat that size in the area so the boat doesn't swing on its anchor and hit the rocks on the island. Once ignited, which seems to be what woke people up, a very fast burn, yet not an explosion. There was no time to get people out. The passengers were stuck below. The crew reportedly were injured, and literally a couple of them were in their underwear when they got to the Great Escape fishing boat, a private boat I've heard of before. They reportedly heard explosions on the Conception as the boat was fully engulfed, not surprising with oxygen tanks on board for emergencies, for dive accidents, etc. Cooking fuel tanks, likely propane, and likely scuba tanks had burst discs popping as the air in them was heated by the fire. And if nitrox was used, it would have caused a much faster burn, as nitrox is enhanced air with oxygen added. The O2 feeding the fire would cause it to burn hotter, just like a welding torch. Now, this person knows what she's talking about. She's taught scuba. She's been on this boat several times. So here's an excellent article about nitrox use and the controversy and mixed decisions about whether it should be used in recreational or sport diving at all. Now, let's just take a quick look at this. We're not going to read through all of it, but let's... And what she is saying is that, pure oxygen isn't used, that it's mixed with nitrox. And let me see here. It says to breathe or not to breathe, exploring the nitrox controversy. And this, okay, here it is. The issue of recreational nitrox diving has been at the forefront of the diving community for the past several months. There are no shortages of opinions about the topic, but there seems to be very little objective information about the subject. This article is a milestone in that it addresses both the pros and cons of the activity in an objective and straightforward manner. When we originally planned a nitrox article for dive training, we envisioned it as a 2-part series, much like the trilogy published about the dive tables. However, we felt that a 2-part series increased the chances of confusion and opted for a single comprehensive report. We hope you will enjoy the results. So let me see here. This is very long here. Very, very long. Okay. Well, okay. Let me see here. Okay, a matter of terminology. Let me see. Okay, hang on here. Okay. Recently, an increasing number of recreational divers have been purposefully altering the air they breathe instead of using special gas mixtures to attain certain advantages while diving. These exotic mixtures go by such names as heliox, trimix, and nitrox. By far, the most common alternative breathing mixture is nitrox. Some of you may already know about nitrox diving. Others perhaps have heard about it, but know very little. Even if you've never heard of nitrox diving, you certainly soon will. Industry estimates are that from 1985 to 1991, recreational divers engaged in 30,000 to 50,000 nitrox dives, and the numbers are growing as altering the divers as altering the diver's breathing mixture involves serious practical and legal questions, nitrox diving is becoming a hotly debated topic. In this article, we'll examine the issue evolved in this new controversial form of recreational diving. Hopefully, we can put the subject into perspective. It is not the position of dive training to either advocate or discourage the use of nitrox. In a free society, that choice is left up to each individual. The choice, however, should be an informed one. The purpose of this article is to present the facts and explain the status of nitrox in the recreational diving community. It's up to you to decide whether or not the benefit of enriched air are worth the problems, expenses, and risks. So this is something that I guess is now becoming the norm, and it is something that carries some risks. And probably of what just happened, explosions, but we don't know. We don't know for a fact that it was these tanks that exploded at all. We don't know. It would make sense, but there's too many other anomalies in this, because why were they talking about them being locked down below, number one, and why is that guy saying, please don't kill me? Why is he saying that? Who's he talking to? And then somebody's talking to him because he says, what? And he's not talking to the operator on the other end. So yeah, there's a lot here. Now, I'm not going to go through and read all this because it's just too, and of course we are not, well, some of you may be divers. I'm not a diver. I would love to, but so anyway, it's called enriched air nitrox diving, and I guess it makes the air, I don't know. But as well, Carol has graciously said if I or any of the listeners have any questions about any of this, we can ask her. So, and she teaches it, so, or she has taught it, so she should know. So let's go back here, and we're going to finish what she has to say. I taught scuba, worked offshore for many years. The Channel Islands, which Santa Cruz Island is one of the islands, which is the second home to me for all those years. When nitrox started to be used for sport diving, I was never a fan. There are safety considerations that need to be used when using and even filling tanks with nitrox. Most people who recreational dive, in my humble personal opinion, don't have the awareness they should around nitrox, oxygen, etc. Commercial divers certainly, sport divers who dive occasionally certainly not. Tank valves get bumped frequently on dive boats and leak. Add a propane leak to that and you've got a very big problem, and fast. Note, hang on. Note, if you have a relative or friend on oxygen for health reasons, this is something to keep in mind. If you live in an apartment, also something to keep in mind. Anyhow, that's my 2 cents, given what I've seen, heard, etc. up to this point. Then, in hoping to hear or read or see more about the fire, hoping to get a passenger list to see if anyone else I knew was on the boat, I saw this on Twitter. This was unnerving, to say the least. I forwarded it to the FBI, etc., and will be sending it to the NTSB as well. It could be some kid playing a prank, yet it may not be. We're going to get to that in a minute because she sent a clip of it. Well, I clipped it out of what she sent to me. Did someone do this? I don't know. It would be fairly easy for someone on another boat to do something horrific offshore, like committing arson. Then I also thought about what was said on the radio, that people were locked in, which I had heard before, yet chalked it up to the situation being 3:30 a.m., captain in his underwear having to jump off the boat, either paddle or motor to the other ship, then likely while tired, wet and horrified, calling for help. That had to be a nightmare. I'm not sure if he was also injured, but it was reported that the crew are in the hospital with leg injuries. One has a broken leg. I can't even imagine. So was it terrorism? I don't know. until the NTSB finishes their investigation, and even then, if it was, we may never be told publicly. Hell, the crew might not even know themselves. They didn't seem to know how the fire started. Anyhow, whatever happened, it was horrific. A ton of comments going around, yet many are just gossip. I again see people talking about divers' tanks being dangerous because they're filled with oxygen from reporters, and I want to scream. Where do they get those ideas? Why do they always print that? Even before nitrox was used by sport divers. Breathing pure oxygen at around 30 feet deep or so will damage your lungs. Think freezer burn. The tweet regarding leave Hong Kong alone or more in the U.S. will die was, to say the least, very disturbing. We're about to get to that, so we're just going to continue on here. If there's anything else you want to know about diving or the scuttlebutt locally, let me know. I want to know what happened too. One of gals who died, I'm almost sure, was on a couple of research dive trips I conducted years ago. I'm not sure who captained the Conception on her last voyage, but it could easily be the same captain who took us all out on a research trip years ago. I don't know for sure, and I don't know if there are others I might know. Regardless, it's a horrible tragedy. I heard tonight that some passengers did jump off and found it odd that one of the officials said the injuries on the recovered bodies were consistent with drowning. I just want to know what happened, along with the rest of the dive community and so many more. Please keep us posted on what you find, and I'll keep you up on what I discover here on my end. Now, the next thing she provides here is this, and obviously she found this on Twitter, and it was this person, Ruben Meng, he was replying to USCG Los Angeles. He said, "Do not bother Hong Kong problem, otherwise more people will die in US." And then this Shauna McLeod says, "I see a big investigation besides the fire. Why did the crew evacuate before passengers? Seems to be a problem to me. Passengers don't know that boat like the crew, so y'all have left a bunch of stranded passengers on a boat. Might as well feed them to the sharks. Big lawsuit." And Frank Fitzgerald says, "Sad." And then this person says CFC. I don't know what that means. So these people were responding to the USCG Los Angeles, and I'm not even the US Coast Guard Los Angeles. So these people were talking to the Coast Guard, and this person up here says, "Do not bother Hong Kong problem, otherwise more people will die in US." Now, it could have been just some smart aleck saying that, because you're bothering with Hong Kong, this is why people died. And if you don't leave it alone, stop, whatever, then, we'll kill more. I don't know. But I know that she sent this to the FBI and someone else. Let me see. Who did she say she sent it to? I know she said FBI. I forward it to the FBI, etc., and we'll be sending it to the NTSB. Now, I'm not sure what that stands for. I'm not sure, but it's probably the people that investigate this kind of thing. So anyway, this is what she sent. She knows the boat. She's known people that have been crew on the boat, and she is a very, very skilled diver and teaches it or has taught it. So obviously, she knows what she's talking about. Now, I'm going to go here. This is Reddit. We don't know who these people are, obviously. But there's a lot of stuff here too. and I just found this at the last minute, so I really didn't, I don't know if there's anything here of value or not. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this. Excuse me. I'm going to leave this and I'm going to read it on my own. And if there's anything of note, I'll clip it out of there so that we can see it. But I did want to give you, bring this to you tonight about what Carol had to say and so forth. There's still a lot of questions in my mind. Anyway, a lot. I do think this was done on purpose. Otherwise, I don't think we would have had the nature of distress call that we had. Now, obviously, if your boat's on fire, yes, you're going to say, Mayday, Mayday, of course. But, you know, the talk about being locked, the passengers being locked in, and the part about, please don't kill me. Twice he said, please don't kill me. So, I don't know. I don't think this is what we think it is. And I don't know if the person that radioed did make it off the boat. I don't know. I don't know if anyone has said that or stated that for a fact that, yeah, he got off the boat, and because it would be really good to hear what he has to say, if he'll talk at all about it. So, all right. Let's go back now because there's more to get to. There's always more to get to. And the news never stops. Like, really, it doesn't. So let's go on now. And I wanted to mention this because people are making a massive deal about this. Huge. And Donald Trump says, in the early days of the hurricane, when it was predicted that Dorian would go through Miami or West Palm Beach, even before it reached the Bahamas, certain models strongly suggested that Alabama and Georgia would be hit as it made its way through Florida and to the Gulf. You know how he said Alabama and everybody's, oh, he's so stupid. He's so stupid. It was never supposed to hit Alabama. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And they even have a news program. I hope that I caught that to prove to you that it was supposed to hit Alabama. It was supposed to go over the state of Georgia and up. And so Alabama would have been affected. So anyway, everybody is, I have never seen such a furor over this. And of course, he held up the weather map, and it had a Sharpie on it showing the effects of the storm, and everybody went nuts, like crazy. I mean, I did laugh at some of the memes that they wrote just because it was so crazy, but yeah. Anyway, Florida and to the Gulf and continued on. Instead, it turned north and went up the coast where it continues now. In the one model through Florida, the great state of Alabama would have been hit or grazed. In the path it took, no. Read my full FEMA statement. What I said was accurate. All fake news in order to demean. And of course we know that, and it looks like that I do not have that clip, but I'm going to find it and I'm going to play it for you the next time, because I think it's important for us to see that, yes, the news was reporting that. Yes, they were. Why does everybody give Donald Trump such a hard time? Really? Anyway, now to something really grisly. We're seeing more and more and more about this because they are trying to make it seem normal. And why are they trying to make it seem normal? Like it's necessary, like it's no big deal? Because it's about to come out about the special cuisine of some of these people. Some of the elites have a very special cuisine. Not something I would ever eat, but they seem to have no problem with it. So let's take a look at what this Swedish behavioral scientist has to say. Well, he suggests that eating humans, that we eat humans to save the planet. Yeah, I can't make this up. Really. All right. The food of the future. Maybe dead bodies. Yeah. All right. A Swedish behavioral scientist has suggested that it may be necessary to turn to, I'm not going to use this word, I'm just going to say special cuisine, because I don't know, but I would assume that this is going to be a trigger word. So a Swedish behavioral scientist has suggested that it may be necessary to turn to special cuisine and start eating this special cuisine in order to save the planet. Appearing on Swedish television to talk about an event based around the food of the future, Magnus Söderlund said he would be holding seminars on the necessity of consuming this special cuisine in order to stop climate change. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's all about climate change, isn't it? Yeah, now we have to eat each other. There's some people that really I would not want to eat. I'm just saying. Okay, environmentalists blame the meat and farming industry for a large part of what they claim is the warming of the earth. According to Söderlund, a potential fix would be the Soylent Green solution of eating this special cuisine instead. Now, those of you who don't know what this reference to Soylent Green is, it's kind of like a cult classic. And I don't know, it was done many, many, many years ago, but I don't know what era it came from. Certainly not our era. And it's about this. And the big line in this movie was, Soylent Green is people, because they find out that this special meat that they have been eating is special cuisine. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the movie is by that name. Anyway, it's a cult classic. He told the host of the show that one of the biggest obstacles to the proposal would be the taboo nature of special cuisine and the fact that many would see it as defiling the deceased. Oh, you think? Yeah, I can, I'm memorializing my loved one. Everyone come over and have a meal. Now, there is a man, and this is a true story. You can look it up. He had to have part of his foot amputated, I believe, and that's exactly what he did. And he served it, and people came and joined him for dinner. That is a true story. You can look it up yourselves. Unbelievably revolting. All right. Söderlund also acknowledges the people are slightly conservative when it comes to eating things they are not accustomed to, such as, this word right here. And I'm not going to say that because I just don't know what is being targeted anymore or not. Cadavers. Yes, I said it. All right. The discussion took place accompanied by a graphic of human hands on the end of... Okay, that's disgusting to even read. Forks. Lovely. Another proposal to save the earth, which has been promoted by numerous mass media outlets and environmentalists, is only somewhat less disgusting: eating bugs. Well, you know what? If I was hungry, like really, really hungry, I would have no problem eating bugs at all. If I knew that they were edible and weren't going to harm me in any way, I would eat them if I was hungry enough. Now, I'd have to be very, very hungry. I would live off the fat on my body for as long as I could. And then, but no way, no way would I consume. All right. So, no doubt Greta Thunberg and Prince Harry will be the first in line for when cockroaches and human special cuisine is being dished out at the next International Climate Summit. Well, nothing would surprise me there. Yeah. So there you go. Disgusting, isn't it? But that's not the first article I've seen of this nature at all. Not at all. It's becoming more and more common. I don't know. Anyway, let's look at this next. On to a different topic. Thank goodness. All right. Well, they got rid of the fat, burning fat, and now it's, can a person remember being born? Who cares? No, I don't remember being born. Okay, exclusive. FBI never searched pervert Wiener's laptop until after the 2016 election. Wiener's iPad and iPhone are now missing. Oh, I'm so surprised. No, I'm not. Not even a little. In fact, I would be surprised if they weren't missing. And, yeah, here we have the 3 players. They all look like winners, don't they? And I'm not making fun of the way they look. I'm just saying that knowing what we know about these 3, yeah. We uncovered that the Obama White House ran the Wiener email investigation with the aid of the corrupt FBI and DOJ. Now we know the corrupt FBI didn't even search Wiener's laptop till after the 2016 election, and then somehow have misplaced Wiener's iPhone and iPad. We raised this question in April 2018. Why would Mueller, Comey, Hillary, and the deep state go all in to remove President Trump from office? Their actions are more like rabid dogs than sore losers. There must be something more. The DOJ's IG's report on McCabe, released on Friday, April 14th, 2018, was a bombshell. We discovered hidden in it were pieces of information that, when put into context with information released at that time, indicate unimaginable corruption. The DOJ IG's report, Inspector General's report, related to the many lies made by former FBI head Andrew McCabe is 39 pages in length. One key item that was included in the IG report was related to Anthony Weiner's emails. I would hate to have the last name Wiener, and I would hate to be Mrs. Wiener. Mr. and Mrs. Wiener. How would you like to be introduced like that? I wouldn't like it. I would change my last name or say it was something different. Lie. Maybe I wouldn't, but I would change it. I really would. Wiener, that's can you imagine how this guy was teased in high school? All right. So we stated the report includes little mention of Anthony Weiner's laptop emails, other than to mention that a meeting was scheduled to get a search warrant to request the emails on October 27, 2016. The emails were the suspected cause for Comey's email to Congress on October 28, 2016, announcing that the Hillary email scandal was being reopened. However, per text messages between Strzok and Page, the FBI knew about the emails in September 2016 and had sent a team to New York to review the emails at that time. The Wiener emails may be what the Democrats are most fearful of being released to the public. Background. Anthony Weiner was sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison in September 2017 for sexting minors. The pervert was Democrat Senator Chuck Schumer's protege and is married to Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton's favorite aide during the 2016 presidential campaign. When New York Police Department investigated Weiner's crime for texting minors sometime in and around 2016, they obtained his computer that at least one source said included up to 650,000 emails related to corruption, pay to play, and more heinous crimes implicating a number of individuals, including the Clintons and other liberal elites. It's suspected that this was Weiner's insurance in case he ever needed it. Instead, it landed into the hands of the authorities as a result of him texting minors. Well, yeah, and he didn't just text them. I think Weiner sent a picture of his wiener. I think that's what he did. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see Weiner's wiener. Really, I wouldn't. I'm just saying. Andrew McCabe was made aware of Wiener's email in September 2016, but he sat on the emails for a month. After about a month, there was either unrest within the FBI or the New York Police Department. Individuals who knew of Wiener's emails are suspected of putting pressure on the FBI to look into the emails. Then, on October 24th, 2016, Obama's corrupt Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, inserted a new team on the Eric Garner case. In New York, Garner was a black man who died under police custody. There were no indictments in the Garner case, but somehow the Justice Department got involved. According to the IG report, McCabe and Attorney General Lynch held a call with New York. McCabe told the OIG, the Office of the Inspector General, that during the October 2016 timeframe, it was his perception that there was a lot of information coming out, likely the FBI's New York field office, that was ending up in the news. McCabe told the OIG that he had some heated back and forth with the New York assistant director in charge over the issue of media leaks. On October 26, 2016, McCabe and New York ADIC participated in what McCabe described as a hastily convened conference call with the Attorney General, who delivered the same message to us about leaks, with specific focus being on leaks regarding the high-profile investigation by FBI's New York field office into the death of Eric Garner. McCabe told us that he had never heard her use more forceful language. New York ADIC confirmed that the participants got ripped by the Attorney General on leaks. Note that McCabe held the call with Attorney General Lynch that was hastily convened, and McCabe said he had never heard Attorney General Lynch use more forceful language. Why did McCabe use the word forceful? What was she forcing? Also, how did anyone in New York know about McCabe's leaks, which had not yet even occurred at that time, October 30th? The AG must have been referring to some other leaks. On about the same day, Trump supporters, Rudy Giuliani, was on Fox News noting that there was big campaign surprises coming out in the next few days. 2 days later, on October 28, 2016, crooked FBI head James Comey sent a letter to Congress noting that they were reopening the Hillary Clinton email investigation. A few days later, as reported at Breitbart on November 4th, 2016, Eric Prince, founder of Blackwater, was on Breitbart Radio and said he said shocking things about Wiener's emails. Prince claimed he had insider knowledge of the investigation that could help explain why FBI Director James Comey had to announce he was reopening the investigation into the Clintons' email server last week. Because of WIENER-GATE and the sexting scandal, the New York Police Department started investigating, though through a warrant, they searched his laptop and, sure enough, found those 650,000 emails. They found way more stuff than just more identification pertaining to the inappropriate sexting the guy was doing, Prince claimed. They found State Department emails. They found a lot of other really damning criminal information, including money laundering, including the fact that Hillary went to the sex island with convicted corn niblet lover, Epic Find. Bill Clinton went there more than 20 times. Hillary Clinton went there at least 6 times, he said. The amount of garbage that they found in these emails of criminal activity by Hillary, her immediate circle, and even by other Democratic members of Congress was so disgusting, they gave it to the FBI and they said, we're going to go public with this if you do not reopen the investigation and you don't do the right thing with timely indictments, Prince explained. I know, and this is from a very well-placed source of mine at 1PP, One Police Plaza in New York. The New York Police Department wanted to do a press conference announcing the warrants and the additional arrests they were making in this investigation, and they've gotten huge pushbacks to the point of coercion from the Justice Department, with the Justice Department threatening to charge someone that had been unrelated in the accidental heart attack death of Eric Garner almost 2 years ago. That's the level of pushback the Obama Justice Department is doing against actually seeking justice in the email and other related criminal matters, Prince said. Eric Prince. Prince shared that the New York Police Department kept a copy of all the emails on Wiener's computer and the following. Prince agreed, but said if people are willing to bend or break the law and don't really care about the Constitution or due process, if you're willing to use Stalinist tactics against someone who knows what level of pressure could be brought to bear against even the most tenacious law enforcement officials. I think that that has everything to do with the rash of suicides. I'm convinced of it. No, I don't have proof, but to me it seems pretty obvious. Prince also stated that Obama's DOJ was trying to use the Garner investigation as leverage to shut down the investigation in New York into Wiener's emails. The IG report confirmed that AG Lentz did discuss the Garner case with New York and McCabe, and she used forceful language. The IG report confirms many of the statements Prince made just before the 2016 election. No wonder President Trump calls the Mueller investigation a witch hunt. Certainly a number of individuals worked very hard to put the unconstitutional investigation into place. This brazen act is so disturbing that there must be a larger reason for the actions taken. We stated in April 2016 that Wiener's emails may hold the key. Per the conservative Treehouse, in early October, another heavily redacted release of FBI files related to the Hillary Clinton email scandal, one document stood out. The document showed that on November 9th, 2016, the day after the 2016 presidential election, corrupt FBI cop Peter Strzok obtained the Wiener laptop for some intrusion analysis. And this is the document that shows, says he requests intrusion analysis of the identified. So he wants to, but the unique finding from the FBI release is the fact that it was apparently Peter Strzok's first look at the Wiener laptop. And it says image of one hard drive from a laptop computer. Media is from a sensitive investigational matter involving a high-level political figure. WFOCI 13 is required to keep a list of all personnel with knowledge of this investigation and therefore requests a list of CYD personnel who work on this analysis. Interesting. And it proves that this was the first time he saw it because it says list any previous attempts or efforts to analyze this evidence. None. So why were they just analyzing it then after the election? Strange. As was noted by the IG report into the Hillary email case, Strzok shared the following. Strzok told us that the OTD was able to do some amazing things to rapidly reduplicate the emails on the laptop, which significantly lowered the number of emails that the mid-year team would have to individually review. Strzok stated that only after that technological breakthrough did he begin to think it was possible we might wrap up before the election. But this simply cannot be true. Strzok lied. No, he wouldn't do that, would he? Strzok? Are you kidding me? He's straight as an arrow, that man. In addition, what we have uncovered is that the original docket for the Wiener case showed that Wiener had 3 devices that were to be included in a search warrant by authorities: an iPhone, an iPad, and a laptop. Yep, and this is devices to be searched. Device number 1, an iPhone. Device number 2, iPad. Device number 3, laptop. But later in the same docket from the Wiener case, the iPhone and the iPad apparently disappear. Imagine that. Yeah. What happened? Where did they go? I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it is reasonable. Like somebody obviously took it and destroyed it. Or just took it. So the corrupt FBI never searched the Wiener laptop and then somehow managed to lose Wiener's iPhone and iPad. These people need to be in jail. And I personally believe, with my whole heart, I believe that the rash of suicides, maybe not every single one, but I think some of those people saw what was on that laptop. Yeah. So, anyway, that's that. Well, I feel a cat back there, and I'm pretty sure I know which one. Okay, now let's go back. Why? Because we can. And let's go to the next. And this is very interesting. If you ask me, you didn't, but, well, you're here, so I'll tell you. It's very interesting to me. Let's look at this. Came out from the CIA. And yes, it was the real CIA because it's got the little blue check mark. And they came out with this, but I think it's curious, and I think there's a message here because it seems to be the way with these government agencies now. We have a person that looks suspiciously like the hands of Haspel, but who knows? Could be anybody, and it doesn't matter who it is. It says, heading back to school this fall? We like to call our headquarters a campus, but we're never on summer break. We have a cafeteria, gyms, a library, an auditorium, and collaboration spaces, all designed with learning, teamwork, and mission in mind. Hashtag back to school. Now, I just think that there is a message here. And you know why? You know how many times Q has talked about the hunt for Red October? I'm sorry, I've got a little bug buzzing around here. No, really, I do. He's talked about the hunt for Red October, and he's put that in several of his drops. Well, we have right here the hunt for Red October. We have Lost Victory. We have All the Best from George Bush. And then we have one that's completely white. I can't even see a title on it. And we have one by Alan First, but I can't determine the name on that. And over here, something Coo's Egg by Guilford, and A Woman of No Importance. The U.S. Intelligence Committee, John Le Carre, A History, and Master Disguise. And the one she's reading is the Argentina Journal. Now, I don't know if there's a message here, but it's just a little bit odd to me. And do you think they just picked these books at random? Maybe. Maybe they did. Maybe they just, picked them off the shelf and I don't know. But I don't know. They have this thing about sending messages these days, don't they? Now, I'm going to look into some of these books. I haven't had a chance because I just, saw this not that long ago, and I haven't had a chance yet. But I'm going to look into all of these books and see what they're about because I am almost convinced that there's a message here. Now, yeah, you can call me crazy, and maybe I am, but it doesn't hurt to check, does it? So that's what I'm going to do. And tell me what you think. Do you think there's a message here? Just of all the books to grab, why the hunt for Red October? Really? Why? Especially when that is a book that Q has referred to many, many times. So, yeah, interesting. All right, let's go on. We are running out of time. Oh yes, let me show this to you because I want to get to it. This is Trudeau. Yeah. Hey, ho ho. Justin Trudeau has to go before our whole country is gone. We need a Donald Trump here. We really do. And this is, well, you know who this is. That's John Podesta. So don't they look cozy? Oh, they just look like they're about to kiss or something. I don't know. They look like they're buddies to me. So, yeah, I thought that was a little interesting. Perhaps. And let's look at this. This is interesting as well. Dr. Beth Minette filed for divorce from husband Tim Minette because of affair with Representative Ilhan Omar. So this is the wife of the husband of the man that Ilhan Omar was having an affair with. Yes, a married man. And she can't be a very good Muslim because, you know, that is extremely, I mean, she would be stoned to death. Really. Well, we know that. I mean, well, first she married her brother, then she divorced him, she married this other guy, then she's having an affair on him, and he's leaving her, her own husband's leaving her because of this and because of, he doesn't want to get involved in her, you know, her illegal activities. So this is the wife of the husband she was having an affair with. Now, Dr. Beth Minette filed for a divorce from husband Tim Minette because of his affair with Representative Ilhan Omar. Next day, an Ethiopian nationally randomly kills a girl named Marjorie McGill while walking a dog on a DC street very close to where Dr. Minette works and lives. Now, look, okay? Now, I'm not even sure which is which is the girl that is killed and which is the wife. But they look almost identical. I mean, really, one could pass for the other easily, very easily. And no, this is not the same woman. One of them is the woman that was shot randomly by this Ethiopian national, but they look very similar. And so this Marjorie McGill that was killed, she was walking her dog on a DC street, but it was very close to where this Beth Minette worked and lived. And they both look identical. So do you think that this Ethiopian national killed the wrong woman? I do. I certainly do. I think he was after Beth Minette, Dr. Beth Minette. And I think that it was probably Ilhan who put the hit out. Because, you know, you get rid of her, then, you know, the husband, she's probably thinking that this guy will marry her, and she doesn't want him having to pay these pesky, you know, you have to pay, what is it called? Alimony. You know, she doesn't want him having to pay alimony to her, and I don't know if they have children, but, you know, this way he wouldn't have to do all that, and he would be free, and, you know, then they could be together. And I don't think this guy has any intention of being with Ilhan, so that's why I'm not thinking that he did this to his wife. I'm not. Or you know, that he put a hit out on his wife. I don't believe that. I believe it was Ilhan Omar. And the fact that it was an Ethiopian, well, that, I guess, I don't know. I was thinking Ethiopian Somali, but no, not the same thing. So I don't know. What do you guys think? That is my theory. I'm sticking to it. But what do you guys think of that? Do you think it's possible? I think it's more than possible. I think it's probable. Anyway, I found that extremely interesting. Now, I never seem to get to everything that I want to get to. I think I'm just kind of taking a quick look here to see if there's anything that is timely that I must get to. And hang on here. Bear with me. Oh yes, this we have to get to. Have to. All right. This I find fascinating. It's from Breitbart. this will be our last one for the evening. And I would like to do another one, and I don't think that I've got it in me. But who knows? Once I take a break, I never know. So, all right. The left has a 500 million dark money ATM machine called Arabella. Huh. Yeah, dark money machine. An ATM dark money ATM machine. They call it Arabella. Yes, they do. Okay, the following article is sponsored by Capital Research Center, a largely unknown, massively funded strategy company pushing the interests of wealthy leftist donors has been quietly behind a Hydra-like dark money network of pop-up groups designed to look like grassroots activist organizations. These front groups push everything from opposition to President Trump's proposed border wall to support for Obamacare to gun control to government control of the internet to pro-abortion activism and other left-wing causes. The secret of Arabella Advisors may be one of the most impactful and sophisticated leftist funding outfits that you have never heard of, a centralized hub that runs nonprofit arms that in turn have spawned a nexus of hundreds of front organizations outwardly designed to appear grassroots, but that evidence the common theme of more government control in the lives of Americans. And Arabella's vast network was unmasked in an extensive expose by conservative watchdog Capital Research Center, which documents the shadowy system developed by, housed in, and staffed by the for-profit privately held Arabella Advisors. The Arabella firm, in turn, manages 4 nonprofits: the New Venture Fund, 1630 Fund, Windward Fund, and Hopewell Fund. It is these nonprofit entities that play host to hundreds of groups and projects that promote interests and political movements strategically deployed in an ongoing campaign to nudge the county to the left. Arabella's nonprofits spend a combined $1.16 billion from 2013 to 2017, alone, with the aim of advancing the political policies desired by wealthy left-wing interests through hundreds of front groups, according to the report. And those interests pay well. The network's revenues grew by an incredible 392% over that same period. Together, these groups form an interlocking network of dark money, pop-up groups, and other fiscally sponsored projects, all afloat in $500 million ocean of cash, states the report. The real puppeteer, though, is Arabella Advisors, which has managed to largely conceal its role in coordinating so much of the professional left's infrastructure under a mask of philanthropy. I had this feeling that there was a cat staring at me, and I was right. Have you ever done that and you're in a crowd and you just happen to, feel something and you turn and somebody's staring at you? How do you actually know? But it happens all the time to me. It's like you turn, like all of a sudden you think, and you turn around, there's somebody just staring you down. It's weird. Anyway, I digress. Okay, I think I just read that, and a specialty of the Arabella network seems to be the quick turnover of hundreds of front groups, especially websites timed to impact current events and designed to look like grassroots, astroturf organizations that actually function as part of an orchestrated movement to advance the political interests of hidden leftist donors. At a glance, these groups, such as Save My Care and Protect Our Care, appear to be impassioned examples of citizen activists defending Obamacare, according to the report. In reality, neither not-for-profit advocacy group appears to have paid staff, held board meetings, or even owned so much as a pen. In one case, an organization calling itself Demand Justice, founded by former members of Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, quickly thrust itself into the center of opposition to Trump's Supreme Court pick Brett Kavanaugh. Even before Trump announced Kavanaugh as his nominee, Demand Justice committed to spending about $5 million to oppose the eventual pick. As soon as Kavanaugh's name was selected, the organization immediately deployed an anti-Kavanaugh website and helped lead news-making national activism during the confirmations hearings. Yeah, that's where all the opposition was coming from. Yeah. The report shows similar setups. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yet what the news media missed is that Demand Justice is fiscally sponsored by the 1630 Fund, one of Arabella's nonprofits, as the Capital Research Center report reveals. The report shows similar setups have spawned organizations that serve as the backbone of the Obamacare support network, promote gun control, support pro-abortion activism, champion open border policies, and even advocate for a centralized government role on the internet. Arabella nonprofits also evidence close financial workings with Initiatives for the Democracy Alliance, another network of highly influential donors, including billionaire George Soros. I knew his name would come into this, and it does. Democracy Alliance itself coordinates fundings to even more leftist outfits. Arabella Advisors was founded by Eric Kessler, whose bio on the firm's website identifies him as a serial entrepreneur who has started, led, and advised organizations pursuing social change across the country and around the globe. Curiously missing from his official bio, but documented in the Capital Research Center report, is the detail that Kessler served as a member of the Clinton Global Initiative, an arm of the controversial Clinton Foundation. The report concludes by asking, given that many of the groups managed by Arabella frequently call for transparency in the funding of campaigns and policy advocacy, they may first consider voluntarily disclosing their own funding sources. Why wouldn't transparency begin at home? Yeah. And you can look, if you Google Arabella report, you can see the full report. So that is the report by Breitbart, and little by little, things are falling into place so that we understand exactly. And I think the more that we are understanding, the more we are really, we're headed towards a civil war unless something happens very soon. And I'll tell you something, it's not going to go well if Donald Trump does not get elected in the next election. It won't go well. But if he does get elected, which I fully expect he will if there isn't cheating, then I think that, again, the left is going to be absolutely enraged. So I don't know. Trump seems to be 3 or 4 steps ahead of us at all times. So I'm sure that he has this under control, because every time we doubt something, it comes out that, you know what, he was right. So I guess before we start worrying, we have to believe that he does have things under control and planned. Otherwise, I think we will all lose our mind, because with what's going on the left, it's like, how do you compete against that? They lie and cheat and steal and whatever it takes to get power. But I think more and more the upside is that the harder they push, the more people's eyes are being opened. People that, you would think, okay, they'll never be a conservative. They'll never agree with the conservatives. All of a sudden are coming out and saying, like, what's her name? Marianne. Oh, I forget her name. But anyway, she was running for president, and she has now said, these people are vicious. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it shocked me that she would admit that. Like, okay, these people on the left, they're like, so anyway, that is it for tonight. Sorry I wasn't as upbeat, but I'm just like my supper is sitting like a rock in my stomach. I made a really nice roast and gravy and potatoes and corn on the cob and lemon pie and salad. Yeah. So yeah, you can understand why I'm just like sitting here like. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I will be back tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to do 2. That is my plan, to do 2. So yeah, that way it can get us caught up on what we need to get caught up, and hopefully I'll have more answers on some of the things that we looked at tonight, especially about the boat fire and about that picture from the CIA, because I'm curious about that. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful night, and I will see you tomorrow. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and that's right, keep seeking truth, because Xander wants you to. He told me. All right, good night.